So when we try to build the narrative for a Roma nation or for a movement, many years ago through our history, there is two aspects of which we could have focused. One is the ideology and the narrative, which is the power of ideas, and the other is power itself. We have always tried to build, is inspired by the social democrats and democratic education. We have always tried to build into this set of democratic ideas. Okay, and we also, because we were not politically educated, and more importantly, we were not educated in the matters of power. Roma do not understand power. Ideologically, the Holocaust is something that can repeat. We are ready for that already. So if you translate this mentality into the political arena in a world that understands purely power of violence, and you put us in a situation where we are the most fragile people in history. On the situation on Roma and security, we never had security of any kind in this continent since we arrived here almost 1,000 years ago. And more alarming it was that Roma didn't even care about the security. We trusted in superstitions, we trusted in amulets, we trusted in trinkets, we trusted in Islam, in Christianity, in paganism, but we never made any serious effort to have security beyond a razor. I don't know if you say chori in Romane, I don't know, in Calo we say chori, like a small knife. This was all security. This was all security. And security, it was a one-to-one effort. This Roma does this, the gadget does this, boom, 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 bim, 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 I run, you run, whatever. And this was for centuries. So the idea of security of us, the idea of getting organized, when we talk security in history for any people is not a matter of creating shields. We're not Captain America, with a giant shield protect. Security means an army, A nation, it means a land. And all this means a certain way to understand identity. And we have this internal contradiction, which is that we talk about security, but at the same time, we're not able to pay the price of what security means. So if we are to hold discussions in such direction, we need to start to think differently. That's fundamental. Another thing that I think is very interesting here is that we constantly talk about Eastern and Central Europe, but every Roma intellectual from Eastern or Central Europe will do for the most anything possible to run away from Eastern or Central Europe. But when they tackle work on Romani people, they're still telling the people, you stay there, we're bringing democracy. If at least Roma intellectuals or academics or whatever you call activists, whatever, if at least they would be honest to say, listen, my life is a mess in the Balkans and I'm leaving to the UK, but you should do the same because nobody can actually live there. I think this would be so much more honest. Situation in Spain, very interesting. I don't know if any of you is familiar with the incident of Torres Pacheco, or if you heard about it in the news. It's very interesting. So some people from Morocco, apparently 10 people of Morocco beat an old Spaniard, white, Gache. And then what happens is in the news it says that Roma came to the rescue of the Gache and organized to beat all of the Arabs and the Muslims in this town. So then the far right in Spain say Roma are the heroes of the far right. And this is how the news was developing till it was discovered that these were never Roma. It was far right paramilitaries dressed as Roma to point on Roma that Roma are the ones who are beating the Arabs and it's not the Spanish Nazis. So now it has been proven. And of course, if you think why Roma would even mess with all this situation, if you think about it, I mean, never in history, in any country, Roma organized to help each other. Why they will help other? So it's absurd, right? And suddenly it was revealed with pictures and everything that it was far-right people that had the order, dress as Roma. And you start this aggression against the Arabs. And hopefully this will encourage Spaniards and other people to go against the Arabs. So this matter of security and radicalization and what's going to happen and how this is going to be intertwined with the far right and radical Islam and whatever, it's complex. It's not simple. I don't think that Roma by themselves will ever do nothing. Anthropologically talking, we are a choral society. We are based on a set of values that have nothing to do with power. Power is an idea to us alien. We don't even think about what is to be Roma. I mean, Roma who are like out of the Roma community thinks, what is to be Roma? Am I Roma? Who is Roma? What is matters to my identity? But if you make these questions, it's clear that you are already out of the community, because most people in Roma communities never think about that. They live day to day. So bringing back the discussion with the documents, what happens, I don't believe much in mainstream activism, mainstream politics. And actually, I'm always looking forward when a group of smart people, interesting people, or whatever, are going to say, okay, we tried this democracy, policies, we tried and it failed. It gave us the same result as a Roma street guy who is picking up metal and putting it on his motorbike. The political result for this effort and the political result of this Roma doing his normal life at a political level, it was the same. So activism and policy making and academia in the Roma world largely served for people to hold a little position or a little salary and to survive and to escape the East argument. So this is one thing. And power-based, how do we build power is the question. How to address security? We can send letters. We can organize whatever. Don't you think that we maybe, to address security or to address power, we need to create different ideas, different concepts, different language, and to have a different relation to our community to actually exert any significant change, if we want to change, but that make some sense. What would be, I think, madness fast is to try on security the same strategies we tried for anti-Gypsyism or any other word that we used in the past. This terminology that come out, like let's look anti-Gypsyism, power, diversity, whatever, and let's see. And we did then the same things. And all of our strategies fail, and we achieved one Congress, 2 meetings, 1 manifesto, 3 letters. I think what's very interesting about Roma, especially educated Roma, but every Roma, is that at the core of any discussion, there is an almost pathological need of repairing the situation without destruction. My friends, this is beyond pathological. It's beyond, it's for the next 30 years of your life, we are telling them, welcome to our ranks where change don't happen. Who want to go for Roma rights when we are telling the people, we never do nothing interesting, we don't produce any change, we don't have any impact on the world, but here we are discussing the topics, and the conclusion is always, let's give another chance, let's try another round. So as a reflection personally, which about can be the foundation, can be Europe, can be the intelligentsia, can be the academia. By the way, I work in a university and I work in an NGO. And the reason many people don't answer any valid Roma initiative is that people is exhausted of building for construction. So do we become a smaller and smaller and smaller group of people making increasingly peaceful things? No, let's focus on a country. Let's focus in Eastern Europe or in Bulgaria or the countries where the situation of Roma is worse. And let's try to engineer reality from this point. At the end, these 2 fields where my life gravitated are so extremely similar. These people is praying to God, and you are praying to the hope of human rights. Now, beyond praying, are we doing something? Whatever it is, as crazy it is, as stupid it is, something to tell at least we did something that had an impact. Now, if we say, no, this is too crazy, great. Then we'll spend the next 20 years having the same discussion. So you talk about the structure. Because of the war that happened in academia, intellectuals, and NGOs, and whatever, the Roma movement is one of the movements in Europe where you experiment the biggest disconnection between the grassroots and what are supposed to be successful Roma community leaders. And they see all this Roma with education as a problem. So what I want to say is that you're going to need to hold a communication with the grassroots, listening whatever stupid requests in your imagination they have, whatever is their cosmovision, religious, or whatever belief, in order to create a communication, because when the time comes, it's not going to be enough that you have 15 NGO people talking to different ministries in different countries. This is going to do nothing, and it never did nothing. you're gonna need to hold some kind of power, and the only power we have is the power of our people. Right now, we're in a situation where it's a bit like before the French Revolution, and you would need to be comfortable with what Roma activists are not comfortable, which is absolute confrontation. We are the less confrontational people in the world. We love to have coffees, to talk, and to send letters. We don't like to be confrontational, to put ourselves on the spot.